Okay, I want to start off by just saying my name is Lorenzo Castilla. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna read the question and then I'm gonna answer it. So let's begin. So the first question is: Impression, Neoclassicism, and Expressionism were the three major musical styles in the 20th century. Compare and contrast these three styles and discuss a composer and composition from each detail. Note, although Stravinsky composed a neoclassical style, The Rite of Spring is not an example of this, but rather primitivism. Do not rush through this answer. Take your time with this question and make sure you clearly articulate all three of these areas. Feel free to reference previous course materials in this answer question. So, what I did to answer these questions is I broke down each Impressionism, Neoclassicism, and Expressionism. So the definition of Impressionism is a musical style that stresses tone, color, atmosphere, and fluidity. Basically, this started in the late 19th century, and this is important because it challenged traditional norms, and it also influenced subsequent musical movements, and it also contributed to the evolution of orchestra and harmonic practices. So a good example of Impressionism is a French composer, Claude Debussy. He was born from 1862 through 1918. An example of Impressionism is Clair de Lune. Can't really say it because it's in French, but in this composition it shows by harmonic innovations and tonal ambiguity to emphasize on texture, nuance, and evocative imagery. So basically, Impressionism, it really with the composition, it gives a good tone, has a good flow. It's a really traditional style, you could say. Like I said before, it helped challenge traditional norms as before. So that's what Impressionism means to me, at least. So to go on with Neoclassicism, it is a musical style that marked by emotional restraint, balance, and clarity. This started in the 1920s. It's important because it helped redefine musical aesthetics during a time of culture change. So it provided a fresh perspective on composition, emphasizing clarity and structure, and return to classical ideals. So a good example of neoclassicism is by a Russian composer, Sergei Prokofiev. I can't really say his name, but he was born from 1891 to 1953. An example of his composition that shows neoclassicism is his Classical Symphony Op. 25. This was from like 1916, 1917. That's where I found it through the text. So, excuse me. In this composition, it consists of clear forms such as a four movement structure. So it's just I also considered a transparent texture and contrapuntal techniques. So with this style of music, it's more based on emotional restraints, and during his composition is very, when I listened to it the first time, you could feel the different of, I don't know, for me I felt like it just gave me different feelings. So it definitely gets emotional. It definitely gets in your feelings. Not in a sad way, but it really attacks your emotions. So that's neoclassicism. Expressionism is a music style that stresses intense subjective emotion and harsh dominance, typical of German and Austrian music. So this all started in early 20th century. This is important because for its bold departure from traditional tonal practices. With this with their intense emotion, it influenced various arts and forms, and is the role of shaping in trajectory of the 20th century. So the good example of expressionism is by Alban Berg. Sorry. An example of his work would be Wozik from 1925. So he used Springsteen. I don't know how to say that. Exploration of psychological depth and innovative orchestration. So with his composition, when I went through and understand what Impressionism, Neoclassicism, and Expressionism each have different type of characteristics, and how each are different. So in each composition, they are very unique, not just because it's different eras, but it also shows how music over time is becoming a learning tool by expanding or learning or challenging on like different things that haven't been used. So when I went through this, what each term means, this really shows that there's different, I say there's different like type, not genres, but different ways that music can really, styles, that's what I meant to say. There's different type of styles in the composition. Okay, so that's for the first question. The second question is folk music played a major role with several composers in America during the 20th century. Describe how Charles Ives, George Gershwin, and William Grant Still achieved this. What kind of American folk music did each composer incorporate into their composition? So, to break down each composer, Charles Ives, his style of American folk music is by revel, hymns, ragtime, and patriotic songs. So, an example of all these could be, or a few, is Putnam's Camp, Reading, Connecticut, 1912, from Three Places in New England. So, in this composition, there is elements of American folk music and patriotic tunes. Ives uses multiple keys in the same composition, especially by multiple instruments at the same time. This is called polytonality. Ives draw recognizable melodies to connect with the culture heritage of the United States. So in his composition, in his composition, he uses different types of characteristics to show how American folk music influenced him, influence his music. So example, like I said, patriotic tunes. So he uses like a lot of melodies that sounds American, and that is really a good way to understand his music, and that's for Charles Ives. And so for George Gershwin, his type of American folk music in his composition is jazz, blues, and spiritual and cowboy songs. So an example of this is Rest Raw Saudi in Blue, 1924. So William Grant Still got inspired of blues and ragtime and combining styles with traditional classic forms. So in this piece, specifically, he uses impressionism elements and a blend of orchestra and jazz instruments. And also in this example, there is blues sections. In other words, there's soloist. So like in this composition, there is a pianist in certain sections, and that's his type of style. And finally, the last composer is, let's see, it's William Grant Still. William Grant Still. So he's similar to George Gershwin. So his type of style of American folk music in his composition is jazz, blues, spirituals, and cowboy songs, and black American flavor. So William Grant Still, he was a black man. So he had African American music a lot. So in this example that he uses is Afro American Symphony in 1931. So in this symphony, it consists of 4 movements. Also, it consists of Western classical traditions and African American musical. So by doing this, he followed this by incorporating rhythms, melodic elements, and the emotional depth of blues and spirituals into symphonic structure. So that's how each composer incorporated American folk music into their composition. So the third question is, what elements from this course do you think helped your understanding of what it means to listen and understand music? So for me, the elements that helped me a lot from this course is listening and watching the different compositions. If I just read just a section or not hear or listen to what each composition is, I would probably be more confused. I felt like the number of examples that was shown during our lectures helped me understand certain areas a bit better. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like very clear of which era, but I would have a good general idea of which era for sure. But overall, I felt like when during the class time we would listen to different type of composition from different composers, it would definitely help me understand, and actually I would identify, okay, this is from the Middle Ages or from the Baroque era or the Classical era. I feel like the amount of examples will actually help me understand each element of the composition. So with that being said, my favorite musical era is the classical era, because at this time I felt like composers explored a wide range of dynamic contrasts by introducing crescendos, decrescendos, and just sudden changes of volume. So basically, like, I just see like all of a sudden it goes really low, and then goes high, then really low. To me that actually kind of like intrigued me, and like at one point, like when we first started listening to this, it would actually like catch my attention, like, oh, okay, this is different. So in this era, my favorite composer is Beethoven. I just feel like his impact in the classical era really changed music a lot. I felt like he pushed himself and challenged a lot of just a lot of people in this era, and create different compositions, which I liked because I felt like he challenged himself constantly. And for me, I'm always challenging myself, though, so I really liked how he was. Any advice that I would give to someone is, before taking this class, is to probably just keep up with the assignments and always listen, because I feel like if you don't listen during class time, it would really affect especially like different eras. You might be confused on what different eras are happening. That's definitely one thing I would say. Just listen and always keep up with the assignments, especially the discussion post. So the song that I enjoy listening to is called Homage by Mild High Club. So for me, this song is just a good vibe just to listen to, and it really impacts not just my day, it just impacts like just the mood. If I'm just with my friends and like I just say I have the aux, I'll put the song on just because it's a chill song, has a good flow. I just really like how the song is, and I just feel like it just sets, like I said, it just sets the mood. And then that's basically it. Okay.